record to this computer. All right. So like I said, welcome everyone. Thanks for coming out. This is going to be like real world problems that you'll see in Cricut Design Space. Like I said, some may be tricky, some may not be as tricky, but all these come from Facebook, from questions out there. So I picked a lot of the top questions that I see, and then hopefully you guys will, if you don't know the answer now, you will know the answer later, and you will be able to help out those folks that are now going to be newer than you. Okay. So, anyways, just going a little bit over the rules. Like I said, we have the chat room, right? And so, basically, I want everyone to have a nice, fair, nice fair way to answer and stuff. So don't blurt out all the answers in chat or anything. But what you can do is, if you know the answer, just say I know, and then I'm going to see if you know, that kind of stuff. Because I do want to maybe have you guide me through it, and we're going to see if you do know it. Now so be able to talk me through it. And then the other thing is, points don't matter. And also with the chatting, you can either chat to everybody, or you can chat to just me, or you can just chat to Paulette. I mean, it doesn't matter who you chat to. If you chat to just one person, it's seen privately. It's not sent to everybody. But of course, if you choose everyone, everybody will see it. Okay. So, all right. Now, if you're a part of multiple groups, you may already see some of these questions, So let's go ahead and challenge the group here, okay? All right. Here's the first problem, all right? Has anyone seen this image before? Yes.
I have.
You have? Okay. Yeah, I think this comes from your group, Paulette. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So this lady, she asked, she's like, hey, I grabbed this image from the internet. I imported it, and I would like to color the stars, or maybe even the unicorn itself, a different color. And, her question was, is that possible? Okay. So can you go from black and white unicorn to something a little more colorful, right? All right. So what do you guys think of that question? You think it's a good problem? You think that's what do you think, Paulette?
Well, it actually comes up a lot because people don't understand that JPEGs and PNGs and bitmaps and stuff are image files and not cutting files. So they don't know how to turn that image into a cutting file that they can use with different layers or different colors. Most people would cut the whole image and then with scissors cut the other, like the horn off of the unicorn, on the pink one, and put it on the black one, and take the stars from gold and trash the rest of the stuff, and they're wasting a lot of supplies.
Yes, that is a true point to bring up. So I just posted a link in the group. Okay, so here's something that you guys can do while we're chit chatting a little bit about this stuff. Is you can click on that link. You can go check out that unicorn, and maybe you guys can formulate something. And I'm going to show you basically how we can get from that image into Design Space. And then once we get into the Design Space, that's where I'm going to need your help. Okay. All right. So go ahead and click on that. You guys can try to work through it while you're watching me, I guess. And, especially if you have multiple monitors. But anyway, so I got this. I'm going to go ahead and visit that link. Now, when we're talking images and stuff, this is just a normal standard JPEG image. There's not an SVG. So I'm going to go ahead and right click this and save the image as, and I can just go and put it in my download folder. As long as you know where that thing is, you'll be good. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and launch Design Space. And you guys all have those little toolbar, like Windows users. You have the little tool icon down there at the bottom right. On Macs, it's up here. I can just launch Design Space right from the Cricut Bug app. Okay. So in Design Space, we need to get the image in there, right? So let's go ahead and put that in. So going to be upload images. And then we're going to upload it. And I'm going to find my unicorn. There it is. And I'm going to go ahead and upload it. All right. So what do you now? When it comes to this, Paulette, here's something that this is a tip for you guys. That you find out these things the more times you use it. And for example, if I click complex image on this simple black and white thing, right, and I click continue, if I choose this little the little tool that we're supposed to use in order to erase, if I go to the next thing, if I click continue, because this is the page where I sort of see how clean did that wand get it. Okay, so you can see that. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's lots of fuzz around here, fuzz around those stars. Okay, what I tend to do, if it picks up a lot of fuzz, I'm going to choose something else. I'm going to choose this. So selecting the image, and I'm going to go ahead and click simple image this time, and then click continue. And then with that same wand, I'm going to go ahead and click that. And if I click continue this time, I get cleaner stars. I don't know if you see that or not. That's a little tip out there. Okay, so print and cut image, cut image. I want this to be a cut image, and I'm going to go ahead and click save. All right, I click the little check mark, I hit insert images, and there we go. All right, so now we have this unicorn in the stars. Now, what are some thoughts out there? Go ahead and chat. Just throw some of your thoughts out there on what we can do in order to get this unicorn to be multicolored here. At least the stars for now. Anybody?
Do you have everybody else unmuted so they can?
Well,
or do you want them to type?
Okay, so yeah, I mean, you guys can type. Someone said slice. Okay. So let's go with ungroup first. So I got this thing selected, and my group ungroup. Hopefully, you guys can see my menus pop up. My group ungroup is barriered. So ungroup, not an option, but good guess though. Good guess. All right. Elizabeth said that she would slice. Okay. Now you can slice, right, Paulette?
You can.
You can. Now,
I would try contour.
Yes, I was going to say, is that the fastest? Would you is that the fastest way? So first of all, let's talk about what Elizabeth said. So what she's talking about is drawing a shape around those stars, and basically trying to slice them out of that. So if I go like this and I select everything and I hit slice, it is true that I am now able to remove those stars. So that is one option for you. Okay. And Michelle says contour, and contour is my way. Let's see. I would take another program and put it back as an SVG. Yes, but we are just using Design Space. Good thinking, Leslie, for thinking outside the box of what to do. Hey, Troy, what would you suggest, Troy? Let's see what Troy what he agrees with. He's probably going to say Inkscape or something. All right, so let's try the other suggestion was contour. Slice if I don't have Inkscape. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and back up all the way until I have have just the unicorn and no triangle. Okay, now this is all one piece, and contour was suggested. So let's go ahead and use a little contour. So over here in the layers menu, you have contour. Paulette, tell me what contour does for us.
It hides some of the lines. So
Okay.
in this case, well, I would have duplicated it first, but whatever
Yeah.
you click on,
Okay, let's duplicate first.
okay,
Okay, duplicate. There we go. So now we have an original copy, and then we have the original.
right.
Okay. So
So
I click contour. Go ahead.
in one copy, after you click on contour from your layers box, you want to then click on the lines that you want to hide, and you'll notice it changes sometimes ever so slightly, but it does. And when you click on all of those, once you click back into the white space on your mat, they're all gone.
So you guys see that? That's kind of cool, right?
And then
So
the other one, you could hide the horse.
hide just the horse. All
But
right.
it
So
is going to get tricky with the horn because that last little part of the horn is also part
yep.
unicorn's head. So.
So there we go. And now we can move that, and then we can color it, right?
Right.
Okay. So we color it by over here. Now we got that. Cool. So going back to this is like a little thinking outside the box again with this is how can we get the pink unicorn part? Slice if you don't have Inkscape. Yep. So how can we do that? Because we can't group, we can't ungroup, we can't really use contour because, like Paulette said, we have that little stub right there. So we can sort of take what Elizabeth. Yeah, go ahead, Elizabeth. Go ahead and answer. Yeah, we should take exactly what you said. What did you say, Elizabeth? Go ahead, answer. I know you got it. Now, if you want to talk with your microphone, feel free. Just let me know, and I can unmute you. Okay. Jana, no, we cannot edit nodes. Nice thinking, though. That's going to be in Design Space 5.0. Okay, we're in Design Space 2.0 right now. All right. Slice the horn, or at least that small triangle. Yep. Oh, you don't have a mic. Okay. No worries. We will be your voice. We will be your voice. I'm going to go ahead and insert a shape just like she said. Now, like I said, I've already done this before, so I sort of know that we're going to need multiple shapes for this, but you can almost think of this as a piece of paper, and we need to cover up that horn with a piece of paper. And we can unlock the constraints for proportions right here. Click that little unlock, and now I have freedom to make this thing move the way I want. So I'm going to get this thing horn-shaped, rotate it, place it on top. Now if you have a piece, say for example that this really didn't work, and you're like, okay, well, let's go get another piece of paper, right? So I'm going to go ahead and insert another shape and try to get it to cover the entire horn, okay, or the entire shape that I'm trying to slice. Hopefully that makes sense. So there we go. Now you said we slice, right? Okay, let's go ahead and slice. So I'm going to hide these stars so I don't accidentally select them, and I'm going to select everything, and I'm going to try to slice. Oh, man, you know what? I can't slice. So Miss Elizabeth, what do I got to do? You ever have this issue, Paulette, or you're trying to slice something and it just won't slice?
Oh, definitely.
I know. Gosh.
Definitely. Slice has that little rule.
Yes. All right. So Elizabeth came in for us. Yeah, Slice has rules. Go ahead, Paulette. You explain the rules on why we need that, or why is Slice not working?
Because you can only slice 2 layers at a time, and your shape or original image or text is 1 layer, and then you have 2 rectangles there, so you have 3 layers that you've got selected. So Elizabeth is right. If you weld those 2 rectangles together, just like you can weld a line of text and make it 1 layer, and then you'll be able to slice it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I actually made this little troubleshooting chart. So if you guys are ever in the need of slicing, if you follow these rules, you'll always be able to get Slice to work. So the very first question, this is your starting point. Are you only selecting 2 layers? And if you take a look at this and you look at your layers panel, when I have this entire thing selected, how many layers am I actually selecting? 1, 2, 3. So I'm not selecting that, you know, so I need to somehow get 2 layers. And how can I get that? Well, we got to do what Miss Elizabeth said, which is weld these 2 shapes with a sweetheart. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and weld these. You select both of them, click the weld, and then I don't know if we need to add a heart or not. Nope. Okay, it's just weld. And now we can select both of these, and now our slice option is available. So hopefully this, you know, points out those common newbie errors. I'm going to go ahead and click on the slice. And there we go. And now we have a horn that can be moved. So anyways, you know, not perfect, but, you know, I'm not trying to be perfect with this. And you can go ahead and recolor this to whatever you want. There it is. And delete all the unnecessaries, right? Okay. All right. Good job, Miss Elizabeth. 1 point for you for slice. 1 point for Michelle for contour. And we'll give Troy and Leslie half a point for suggesting other programs. Would you agree with that, Paulette?
I would.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. Oh, we'll give Jana some points too. She, you know, half a point. You know, she's talking about editing nodes. So, waiting for that design space 5.0. Okay. So, goodbye, Mr. Unicorn. Right? Don't need him anymore. All right. So that was problem 1. All right. So how long did that take us? I don't know. 20 minutes. Good. All right. Here's this next one. Problem number 2. I swear I'm having the hardest time finding a silhouette of Maui from Mona. So anyways, so I didn't know what this was. I had to go do a Google search for it. So anytime I'm looking for an image or anything, you know, Google is always there. And so what, I just typed in what she was asking for. What was that? Maui. M-A-U-I. And then, now, you know, Maui is an island, isn't it? I don't know. But anyways, Maui, and then Mona, M-O-N-A-N-A, and then I tried typing silhouette. Now, she said, of course, she couldn't find it, so I was like, well, what am I going to find, you know? So anyways, could you create your own if you did not have one? If you did not have an actual silhouetted item of this. So let me go ahead and go to the next slide because I think I have on there the image that I used, okay? So I'm going to copy this image where I got this and let me know what you guys think. Are you able to create a silhouette just from that image? All by yourself? Can we? I don't know. What do you think, Paulette? Can we? Can we do that with design space alone?
We can.
You can? Okay. What do you think, Michelle? You think we can? Thumbs up, Troy, if you think we can. Oh, he thinks
Sorry, I was muted.
You think we can? All right. Let's see. Does anyone have any ideas of what to do? Does DS have a trace? Yes, it does. We just used it for that unicorn. And this is a JPEG file. That link that I sent you to. Also, that is has a white background as well. What about you, Miss Elizabeth? You got anything? Trace simple. All right. So, Leslie is on the right track. What do you think, Paulette? At least we have a starting point. We need to trace this image, but the first thing that we need to get in our minds is that we can trace this. or try to, or at least get a silhouette of it anyway. Because you'll see on Etsy and stuff, people are selling these things, and you can do this. Cut only. I like your thinking, Miss Elizabeth. You are on the right track. So we got Leslie and Elizabeth on the right track. Let's go ahead and see if we can meet them in the middle, okay? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and go to that page. Now with any image, it's right-click, save image as, save it to my downloads. Then I can go ahead and open up Design Space again. And create a new project, upload image, right? So I told you this one's going to be a little more interactive than me just up here yapping. Okay, guys? So here we go. Opening it up. Let's see what we got. Now, like I said, if we're trying to go for detail, I'd always try to go to complex. But like I said, that always gives me fuzzy stuff when I'm just trying to get a simple, nice, smooth. So I'm going to go with simple image. I'm going to go ahead and click continue. And I'm going to go ahead and click continue because I think that's what Miss Elizabeth said, right? Okay. Does that look good, guys? Does that give us a nice silhouette, this cut image? I say this kiddingly, you guys, because I do see this a lot. You know, people will not do the initial, you know, the step right before this. Is that right, Troy? I mean, you've seen this a lot too, right? That's a nice silhouette of a square. That's what Troy says. So anyways, that is true. We got some cleaning up to do, and that can be done with, is it the eraser? I think is that right, Paulette? Eraser?
No, use
okay.
the wand.
It's the magic wand, guys. And if things are ever giving you troubles, don't forget to mess with your advanced options. Okay, so with this, I do have to click the white space, and I don't know. I haven't tested this. If I can
Go between his arms and his body.
Yeah. Now, like I said, if you forgot this stuff, I mean, if you click continue, we're going to see a preview. Okay. Well, okay. It didn't get it didn't get under his arms and stuff. So that's where you have to go digging for a little bit. But you're right. So that's how we do it. Yeah, Elizabeth, you didn't know about the advanced options? Good deal. Yes. If it's not picking up enough or picking up too much, that's where you can define your stuff here, and then your color tolerance. So let's see what this guy looks like. I'm gonna show you that dip. So that was a simple one. Let's go back with complex, because you do get more color for the print and cut. Notice he's a lot more colorful, and you know, you get the color tolerance here. There you go. So, and then just click continue. So we'll see what that looks like. There it goes. So you're right. So that's how we can get the silhouette. Cool. Good points for Miss Paulette. I hope you're keeping track of all these points, Miss Paulette. You keeping track? Michelle, you keeping track? Okay, because we're getting some good points, and I just want to make sure that the winner gets what they deserve at the end. Okay. All right. What do you guys think of that? Pretty cool. Pretty neat. You didn't think you could create a silhouette in Design Space? Well, now you can, right? All right. So let me go ahead and close those. All right. Moving on to Newbie problem number 3. Has anyone ever seen this question before? Oops, actually, I forgot to blur out their names. I'm so sorry. Oh, man. Okay, guys, you saw that. I'm gonna have to pause my screen. I'm gonna have to do some cover up here. So there's that. Now you get to see what that problem was, though. All right, so we'll go to problem 4 since that's what we're on, and then we'll go back to 3. How's that? All right. So let's talk about them. All right. So I can't remember how not to make these fuzzy. Anyone ever see this question before?
A lot.
A lot. Yes. And so I thought maybe Miss Paulette, you can sort of explain why we see this while people are thinking how to turn this off, if they even want it off, or why if it should even be off.
I generally have never turned the bleed off on my print then cut. The way she has this set up, it's going to cut every letter and her flowers, and the bleed makes it the color go just over the edge of the cut line, so that when it is cut, you've got color all the way to the edge, and there's no little white slivers there, as some programs or cutters end up with. And that makes it look blurry because the bleed is going over the edge of every single cut line for every letter.
Yes, every time I see this, I really think to myself, they really didn't intend for the cutter to even cut those words out individually. Would you agree with that statement as well?
I would.
Yes. So I'm going to show you a couple things with this. So back in Design Space, I'm just going to add some text here. To me from Santa, right? Okay. If we change this to a print, right? So how can we change this to a print? Because right now it's a cut, right?
Right.
Okay. So can I do this and just change it to a print, and that will work? Okay. And let me see something here. Okay. So that looks kind of blurry to me. I really meant for this to like go on a tag or something. I think that's what I'd probably use this for. Is that what you guys would use it for? Pretend this is a tag. And if I have it just like this, and I change this one to a print as well, and I click go. Oh, I got to reduce the size. But Paulette, I got 11.5 by 11.5 matte. Why can't I use most of it?
Because each browser and the iPad app or the iOS app have different dimensions that they can cut using print and cut. There's got to be room for the registration marks, and right now you've got your little image there that tells you that Google Chrome, you can only be 5.5 by 8 inches. I don't know what browser you're using. I should be able to tell that. But
yeah, I'm using Google Chrome. And so
even though you've got an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, or you may have a printer that will print 12 by 12, Design Space can't do that. You're limited to the dimensions that you see depending on your browser. So for you, you've got to make it less than 5.5 inches by 8 inches.
Gotcha. All right. So if that wasn't new to you guys, good job. But if that was new to you, this is the little image I made that will remind you of what browsers support what size. Okay. So if you ever get that little error message that you saw on my screen at the top, you can always go to this. Now this is going to be in the classroom that you guys signed up for. Okay, so all these images, graphics, this presentation will be in the class for you guys to reference. Okay. All right. So that is true. That is true. So basically, I need to reduce the size of that. Let me go ahead and send this to the back. So really, you probably would not want to have like a black square that eats up a lot of ink. But anyways, if I click go now, am I good to go? Oh, darn. Gosh. Paulette, I'm so new to this. Uh, I don't know. I don't know. Has anyone ever had this problem before in the chat? Miss Elizabeth, you ever had this problem? I clearly I put this right on top of it,
You
and
did.
I can't. I just don't understand. I click go, and flatten. So if I flatten, okay. So let's see if I flatten. Flattens over here in the layers panel, and I click that. Ooh, my layers. What happened to my layers, Miss Paulette? They're like all gone.
It went into a flattened set.
Oh,
It
so
took all of the layers, collapse them into one printable image.
okay. Now, how do I get it back to so I can like move something around?
You can unflatten it.
Ooh, so I can click that and unflatten. Ooh, so it's reversible. I like it. Okay, so now different scenario. I had these as cut files originally.
Well, Rob, let me interrupt for just a
go
second.
ahead. Go
I
ahead.
don't know how many people are actually newbies and didn't know, but when you were first trying to do it and you went and changed the icon to a
Yep.
printer, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Once you have your shape and your text or your image and your card or whatever it is, select it all, flatten it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to show you. So,
Okay.
so
Sorry.
yes. So you can see I have these little scissor icons right here. I have this one right here. And if I selected everything just like Miss Paulette said, I can go ahead and click on the flatten button and look what happened. They all turned to print. Now, if I select this again and I go to unflatten, they stay as prints. So keep that in mind. When you unflatten, they go back to normal. I mean, they go back to unflattened, but they're prints, okay? So now if I flatten it and I go ahead and click on go, at this point, you see this, my text is no longer blurry. Ooh, and that's because I have an outer shape here sort of protecting that part, okay? So that is how that worked. All right, now what about, let's see, I think that about covers that one. So, so Miss Jeanette, you got 1 point. 1 point. Good job, Miss Jeanette. All right. Anything else to bring up on this, Paulette or Michelle?
Well, just one other thing, that if you go back to where you had the problem with the bridesmaid, will you be my bridesmaid, and you were showing it?
Bridesmaid.
Yeah, the one with the flowers for this, the problem for this. Just go back in your.
I'll go on the PowerPoint show. That's what you're saying.
That one.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
If somebody wanted to do thank you for being my bridesmaid, and a lot of people will duplicate that on their design canvas, and then when they press go, Design Space is saying, what the heck, and trying to process every little bit of that information. So it's best if you do one on your design canvas and press go, and when you get to that preview screen, you can tell it how many you want.
Yeah, so
one, and then it duplicates that instead of reading 15.
Yeah, so what she's saying is, do not do, if you need this on, if you're doing multiple tags, for example, if you do copy and then you're doing paste and then you're doing paste, you're doing it wrong, right?
Well, it's not necessarily wrong, but with the limitations of Design Space and Flash, because Flash will time out while Design Space is trying to read all the information, and you're going to get the shockwave error or the long-running script error. And if you go to the preview screen with only one and then do project copies, Design Space only has to read one of your design and then duplicate that.
Yes, so there you go. See, project copies 4, you can increase it to whatever you want, and now you will be able to print, then cut this. So, all right. I always wondered why it was better to do it that way instead of duplicate. Good to know. Miss Elizabeth said that to you, Miss Paulette. So, there you go. Lots of good info. Okay. So, any other things with this? Are we all good? Okay, moving on. Okay, so we skipped over problem number 3. Okay. Is there a way to copy a portion of design space from one project and paste it into another of design space? Have you ever seen this question, Paulette?
I have.
Okay. So let's try to see what happens if we try to copy and paste stuff. So I'm just going to insert a couple things here, circle and triangle. But for imagination folks out there, you're going to have to imagine that this design is very beautiful. And we have a lot more pieces here that we just want to copy. Okay, so please ooh and ah in the comments saying, ooh, this is a very beautiful design. Okay, because I know it is. Oh, there we go. Ooh, ah, thank you, Miss Elizabeth. Half a point for suck up. Just joking. Okay.
She can follow directions.
Yes. Yes, she can. Yes, she can. All right. So let's just see this. If I go ahead and hit copy, you would think that it's on my clipboard. And when I go to File, New, I do not. Well, I'll save this for now. I'll save it as a webinar. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and new project and shoot. No, the paste is gone. I can go back to that project. Man, it doesn't look like it's possible to copy and paste then. Is that right, Paulette? We can't copy and paste. Now, can you think of a workaround? Do you know of a workaround?
Right. In the traditional sense, you can't, but if you go to File, and this is, of course, only going to work if it's at the beginning of your project, and you start, so you say you want that triangle that's ever so beautiful
in
your next project, but you don't necessarily want the other elements, the circle or whatever else is there. Then go up to File and do Save As. You give it a new name, and then in your new project with the new name, delete all the other stuff that you don't want and start from there. But if you're in the middle of the project that you've already started and you say, oh, wait, that triangle I did in webinar would be great. Let me go get it. You can't do that.
Yeah, you can't do it. Yeah. Yeah. So exactly. So I meant it's, it's only, I think it only works great if you're going to be starting a new project again and you needed a piece from the old one. So exactly. So basically, what she was saying is, I'm going to add one more star to this, make it even better. And I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Now, say later on, I'm trying to create a new project. Like, you know what? In that webinar file that I saved, I really need that beautiful triangle. Is there any way to go get it? So basically, I'm going to go to File, My Projects. Before I even start a project, I'm going to go ahead and find it, go to the webinar. I want to do exactly what she said. I'm going to go to File, Save As. I'm going to name it as beautiful, My Triangle. Okay, so now I'm actually in the project called My Triangle, and I can delete every single thing I don't need anymore and keep that beautiful triangle. So that'd be a way to start again. All right. So there we go. Looks like Paulette answered the question for Leslie about that question. So if you need a follow-up, Leslie, go ahead and chime in, okay? All right, so that one was a freebie, so everybody gets a point. Okay? Everybody gets a point because Paulette answered that one. That was a tough one. I thought that was a tough one. I almost didn't know the answer myself. That's how tough that was. Okay. So we already did 4. Okay. Hide and show contours not available. Okay, so here's this project here. I'm going to share it with the group. You guys can take a look at it. Notice that you guys should know where the contour button is if you followed us from the way beginning. Okay. You should be able to see that. All right. Let me go to that page on my own. Okay, so I'm just a little confused. I click on it. I'm trying to hide that star that's in the middle here. It says contours available over here, but when I click it, I get a big old error message. What to do? What to do? Have you ever seen this question before, Paulette?
Yes, we have.
All right, all right. Just making sure that that this isn't something new. Troy, you seen this one before? Yep. All right. Miss Ray. I see you. I see you. What do you think, Miss Ray? I click on here, contour. It says my hide show is not available due to a grouped image. All right, anybody, what do we got? How about just make a new circle? How about make a new circle and a beautiful triangle? Oh, Janet, you're just trying to go for points. All right, we got ungroup. Michelle votes ungroup. Leslie votes ungroup. Okay. So let's try. All right, ungroup. Can I select both of these in contour? Oh, man, it looks like there's another rule. So anyways, let's see if contour is now available. And indeed it is. And I got half of what you requested, Miss Janet. It is a circle. So we got that. All right. So good job, Michelle and Miss Leslie. Miss Leslie doesn't even own a Cricut yet. So she's even answering questions and she doesn't even know Design Space. How about if it's not ungrouped? Oh yeah, Janet doesn't have it either. Yeah. So how about if it's not grouped? Yes, that's how you can do it. Is group, ungroup. You need to make sure that it is ungrouped, and you can only select one complete shape. Is that right for the end of the rules for that, Paulette?
Well, you might also get hide contour is not available for composite images.
Mm-hmm.
So
and what's a composite image?
Attached. So you have to detach as well.
Okay.
If they are attached. But
so gotcha. So this is saying if I attach, I try to contour, not available for attached images.
Oh wow, I'm glad they changed that because they're giving you the clue there, your attached image. So detach your grouped image, so ungroup.
Yes. Okay, all right. So that solves problem number 5, guys. Hey, we're on 5 right now. We just got 95 to go. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm just joking. There's not that much left. Okay, all right. So good job. Miss Paulette will divvy out points for that one. Okay. Did that one, did the ball. All right. Okay, so here is this one, guys. Very, very tricky. I'm posting the link in group. Okay. So this won't take you to that exact heart, guys, but it will take you to something. And if you click on it, what type of image? Oh, you're talking to someone else. Okay. So anyways, this is problem number 6. We have a heart shape. We have the question says, I want to slice out those letters of the heart. How can I do it? She said that she's lost just like me. Okay. So anyways, let's go ahead, try out this link number 1, go to that page. So if you guys went to that page, this is what you'll see as a spinning wheel. I'm just joking. It's this heart right here that says, love you. Okay. So what can we do in order to slice this text out of this heart? Or when I say slice, I really mean cut. Okay, guys, I mean cut. Because when I click go, I get a heart, I get an I love you over here, and I get some jumbled up letters over here. So obviously I put it on the heart, it's not there. What can we do? What are some tools in our toolbox that we can use in order to get there? Call Corbin, yes. Corbin knows. Corbin knows. Corbin's my son. He's 8 years old. We do videos together. He teaches lessons on weekends only. Weekends only. That's what Corbin does. Otherwise, it's child labor laws I'm fighting against. All right. So Miss Leslie, contour two objects at the same time. So Denise Allen says contour two object at the same time. So, oh, is she talking about one from before, or is she talking about this one? So if I select this, I can't contour. So that's not an option for this example. All right, Troy, you want to throw out a hint? What kind of hint you got? Troy says contour as well. No, I'm just joking. Troy did not say that. I haven't seen what he posted yet. Wonder if there's any lag. Now, if you guys have microphones and you would like to talk, that's fine. We can plug in the mic if you don't like talking. Just say mic me up in the comments, okay? I can't see anybody. Is anyone typing? Make sure that. All right, we got Troy here unmuted.
There we go. Can you hear me?
I can.
All right. What I think people miss when they're trying to cut like this is that they have in their head that it needs to look exactly on the screen, like it's going to come out when they cut it. And so they're trying to make it look like their end result exactly on the screen, and it trips them up because it's not that difficult to do. That's what I would say.
Yes. So what a lot of people will do with this is they're like, well, they're thinking like a crafter. I call it, right. They're thinking of punch tools, right? They want to see transparency in the heart in order for them to think that the love you will be cut out. So let's see if I can slice. Well, I threw this in here as a problem, but we already discussed it before because slice has rules. Okay, so if your text is separated like this, you're not going to be able to slice because you need 2 items selected only. So if I select both, should I? Is slice available? It's not, and we have to follow our slice rules, right? So let me bring those up again just so that we can all follow along through this flow chart. So am I selecting only 2 layers? Well, I think I am because I got the love and I got the heart. Okay, that's my starting point. Obviously, slice is not there. So yes, I'm only selecting 2 layers in my mind. Okay, so if I'm moving over here, are your layers in a group? Let me check. So I have this here, LOVE, and look, it is in a group. So let me ungroup it. Okay, so I ungrouped it. So oh no, now I got individual letters. So this thing's really turning into a pain. So how can I get this to be one solid piece or one solid unit? Well, you can use a thing called weld. weld will get it to be solid. So now let's see if I select the heart, select the letters. If I'm following my slice chart, okay, so are my layers in a group? They were. We ungrouped them. Now we're back here. Okay, are we only selecting 2 layers? Yes. Are they in a group? No. Are they attached? No. Okay, slice will work. All right. So Leslie said group the text, then slice. We had to group the text by attaching, because when we attach, it's right there. I mean, not by attaching, by welding. By welding, it is 1 layer. Okay. So now slice will work for those purposes. Click slice, and this is what Troy was saying that people like seeing is empty space. Look, I just made a punch in my heart. Okay, but I didn't get the U. I'm going to have to do the exact same thing for the U. But you know, when I click go, you take a look at the heart, and it has it punched out of there just fine. Cool, I like it. But say I messed up on a letter or something, say I need to retype something, you know, I can't do that anymore because I sliced. Now, is that one of the drawbacks of doing it this way, Paulette?
Right.
Yes. Yeah. So
It's not reversible. So
yeah, it's not reversible. So how do I get back to, I'd have to keep clicking undo or put a new heart on there and type in that text again.
So for this example, in this scenario, I would use attach.
Yes.
And especially if you're doing something like love Sally, and then you want to do love Johnny and change it around, you can attach.
Mm-hmm.
It will save it, the placement, cut it where you put it. And after you save your file, if you go back to it and want to make a change, you can detach.
Yeah.
But you can't unslice.
So this is what Paulette's saying is, you know, you create something like this, you can go and select both, and you can click attach, and look, it does the exact same thing. This will all cut out. So even when I click go, and I look at the red, see, it's all that stuff's going to be cut out anyways. And this is what a lot of new folks that use this program, you know, they just want to see something transparent. And just like she said, okay, now I need to someone else. Let me go ahead and detach, and then and I'll be able to edit the text again to someone else, right? So there you go. And now I got another project. So that's what Paulette was saying. So let's see. So will the top of the E? Yeah. Oh, well, I meant this E will drop out. But I mean, if you're thinking vinyl, you just don't weed that part, right, Troy?
That's right.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're just talking vinyl and stuff, you don't want to weed the in. You weed out those letters. You know what I mean, right? So, yeah. Okay. Any questions with that? That was kind of tricky, maybe. A lot of discussion points on that. Like I said, if you guys follow the slice rules, if you're trying to slice, you can do slice. But as you find out, if you're new and you're just starting out, just get in the habit of doing attach. That's what I'm, starting to tell people in all the groups is, just attach. And the only reason I would ever probably use a slice instead of an attach is if I have if I'm trying to cut a chunk out of the heart, that's when I'd use slice, because I can go ahead and do this and I can slice, and now I just cut a chunk out of the heart in there. That's what I would use slice for if you're not really going to be using that other piece. So, what other reasons would you use slice, guys? Either Paulette, Troy, Michelle. I can't hear you. Did you mute yourself, Paulette? You muted yourself. Paulette, I can't hear you. Let me see if I can unmute you. I don't know what happened. Unmute audio. Okay.
Oh,
You're unmuted, Paulette.
I muted myself because my family was cleaning up the kitchen.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
I'm sitting in the dining room, sorry.
Gotcha.
But that's the only reason I use it. If I'm wanting to make a permanent change to an image, then I slice. Otherwise, I use attach.
Yes, because I always say, you know, you can always detach, but you can never unslice without the undo. So there's that one, guys. All right, so go ahead, practice with that one. I'm going to show you one more that I used in one of my son's videos. If you haven't seen it yet, it's a pretty good watch. But this was the project here. And if we wanted the stars to all be cut out and the heart to be punched out, would you rather slice this stuff, or would you just like to go like this, click attach, and then click go? And it gives you the exact same punch. I mean, how easy is that when it comes to that? Okay, guys. So that's what I wanted to stress on that. Any questions? Miss Elizabeth, any questions? You good? Miss Leslie, you good? All right, we're going to be moving right along. So we got the heart one. Problem number 7. A lot of people don't know about this stuff. She has an iPhone 7 Plus. She has a case. Is there a way to know the exact size? There's tools inside Design Space that will allow you to visualize things. Okay. Does anyone know what that thing is? You know what I'm getting at, right, Troy?
I think so.
Okay. All right. Miss Elizabeth, point. Oh, yes. Denise Allen, point. Canvas. What the heck is a canvas? All right. Go ahead and explain that, Miss Paulette. What is a canvas while I pull it up? What's a canvas do for us?
So the canvas will give you a template of sorts so that you can size your design to fit, basically. Right?
Okay.
And in Design Space, there are a bunch of preset ones. When you click Set Canvas over in the left menu there, then you're going to get the option of, are you doing an apron, a t-shirt, a clock, a tumbler? I mean, I'm just jumping around there. You can pick one of those categories, and then within that, the t-shirts, you'll have different sizes. Of course, you pick smartphone, and then you've got the option there. It will pop up on your screen.
Yeah.
Although it's really hard to see on my screen. There you go.
There we go.
You can change the color to make it more visible.
Yeah. And then
what I would also do is check to make sure, that you've got the right one.
So you got the brand. They got brands Apple and Android. And sorry, Troy, they don't have your flip phone on here. So anyways, you got iPhone 6. Now, a lot of people are like, well, it's an iPhone 6, not a 7. It doesn't matter. I meant iPhone 6 is a 6. I thought they had a plus on here. There it is, 6 Plus. So 6 Plus, 7 Plus, 6, 7, they're the same sizes. They didn't change the screen size. They didn't change the phone size. They did change where the cameras are. But is that right? I think that's right, Troy. You're more the
I'm an Android guy, so
yeah. All right.
I can tell you there.
Gotcha. Well, that's how you can get the stuff, and then you can always, add my famous triangle and circle, and then call it a day. It's called the Delta knots. All right. So yes, that's what you can do, and that way when you click go, it will be sized right for your phone. So. Good job. For the folks that said canvas, point. Good job. All right. Let's see what else.
One thing too,
let's go ahead.
And everybody, is that people need to remember that canvas is not going to cut. Mm-hmm. So if you actually wanted to cut the full shape, that oval, the rectangle with the rounded corners there, that won't cut. You'll have to create that as a cutting file image there. the canvases will not cut. So whether you've got a tumbler, a t-shirt, whatever, because we did have somebody in the group the other day was very frustrated. She'd used like a t-shirt canvas trying to make invitations to a party, and she couldn't figure out why her t-shirt shape wasn't cutting. And it was, as we went back, found out it was because she had used the canvas and not a t-shirt image or a shirt image from the Design Space library or from uploading it from somewhere else. But so your canvas won't cut.
Gotcha.
You currently only have canvases on the desktop too, right? It's not on the iPad app.
Yeah, that's true, right, Paulette? There's no iPad app or Android app
Right.
have canvases. Yeah, absolutely. Good call. All right. Hopefully you guys are learning some stuff as we're going through some newbie questions. Like I said, just a few more to go. You can see here. So with this, a lady was having issues. This was the other day, and this is more of a suggestion as well as a tip. And I don't have my machine hooked up. Darn. So this problem really can't get solved with my screen, but we can sort of talk about it. A lot of people, let's see, custom setting vinyl. Let's see. Yeah, so the main thing I wanted to dwell on this is, she ruined so many pieces, okay? And in my mind, before I am going to cut I know Cricut tried to make things easy with the dial, turning the dial to the right setting, and then people just hit the go button and then watch it cut its entire project, waste an entire sheet of vinyl, and not really, thinking that it's going to work right. So I always suggest, and I don't know if you guys agree with this or not, but test it out on a small shape, like a square or something, and see if those settings will cut for your settings, your custom settings. I mean, you have any tips and tricks for that, Troy?
Well,
Since
on some of the different materials, there are a little bit of variance too in the machine, the blades and the pressure and things like that. And also, if you've used your machine and your blade a lot, maybe just a little bit tiny bit dull, so you get something new like some metallic or holographic vinyl that's a little bit tougher, or even the metallic adhesive vinyl that's yet even tougher. You got to test it out a little bit and figure out those settings, and maybe even set up some custom settings for each of those materials. Some people, I know one guy he's really picky about that stuff, and he's got a setting for every type of material that he uses. He doesn't even use the dial. But figuring that stuff out and testing it is super important.
Yeah, hopefully you guys can sort of see this. I believe the machine has to be plugged in order for you to see what these custom settings are, right? Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So.
And the thing to remember is that when Cricut did those smart dial settings, they did it based on cutting Cricut material. So it's their cardstock, their vinyls.
Yeah.
So when you're using a different brand, you will most likely need to make some adjustments to it. And I do what Rob does, and I actually cut a little star, and I cut it down in move the image down to the very bottom left corner of my whatever material I've got there, so I don't have to unload the mat. I can try it and see if I can peel it off, or if it cut all the way through, and if not, I can let it go through and cut again, and then adjust the setting before I get ready to cut my big design and waste the whole sheet.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good point too about the Cricut materials versus other brands, because and the other thing with that too is that not all vinyl is equal. So indoor temporary, outdoor permanent vinyl, cast vinyl versus calendar vinyl, can vary between 2 and 3 mil, being million and 7-inch. A lot of people, I've had some people think that meant millimeters, but 2 to 3 mil thick, and then whether it's cast or calendar vinyl, those things can affect how tough the material is too.
Yeah. Now, this is what I use for gauging, because we really, when you think about how Cricut has designed stuff, they vary, inside those little dial settings, they chose a specific value for that setting. Okay. Do we know what those settings are? We can sort of get an insight in it when we go into the custom settings inside Design Space, right? So you can get to that, like I said, you need to have your machine plugged in or connected to it, Bluetooth or USB turned on, and you'll be able to go up there. You click on your name, and you go to Manage Custom Materials. You're going to select your cutter, and then all these will populate right here. So these right here, you got your dial presets, and you can sort of see the cut pressure on how they change. So it's least to greatest here. So paper, vinyl, iron on, you all got all the way up to poster board. Now, a lot of people will always suggest, washi tape settings. I always see that in the Cricut groups. So let's take a look at what the cut pressure is on vinyl and compare that to washi. Okay. So I believe I scrolled down here for washi. Let me know if you guys see it. There it is, washi tape, 149. So a little lighter. Okay, so this is where you can gauge. Hold on one sec. This is where you can gauge your pressure settings. So if 171 is too much, and washi is 149, and that's not enough, well, now you have narrowed your gap in between those values, and you can set up your own custom value. Would that be right? Would that be fair to say, Ms. Paulette?
Definitely, yeah.
That you can do that, and that's how you can get. In the Army we say gauge your shot group, right? Adjust your sight picture. Anyways, we're adjusting that picture on there, so now you can create your own custom settings and a value in between there. Now, I mean, if you take a look, Cricut has basically done most of the work for you. I mean, they got a lot of values. I mean, gosh, man, can you really have a pressure difference of one? So you got 67, 69. So do you really need to create one for 168? I don't know. So that's my point with this. Just take a look at it, what material you use, and then if you happen to use that setting a lot, just create your own, or edit it and rename it, right? So that's what you can do. Is that pretty much good? Enough said on that one?
Yeah, I think that cut pressure is in what, micrograms, I think, the pressure.
I don't know. I don't know what those values
I think it's micrograms. Yeah, I think it gets up to like 350.
Yeah. So yeah, grams of force. So I have no idea. I don't have any idea. But like I said, this little clip here is from a video from our classroom, from the Cricut Explore classroom that we have. All right. Okay. So we got hers.
Rob Leslie has a question about
yes.
multi-cut.
Yes.
And how I decide if I'm going to use multi-cut or not really depends on the image that I'm cutting. Because a lot of times I actually found through using the expression for so long where you actually did set the dial for the pressure, you set the blade depth. Sometimes it was better to do a multi-cut, which will cut the same image in the same place more than one time, than to use a deeper blade, which may snag in the corners, which now the Explore doesn't do as much because the blade goes in differently. But the other thing was also it could go down in and nick the mat and get caught and then drag a little bit. And so instead of making the blade go deeper or using more force by increasing the pressure, because if you think of the force like you're writing on a pad of paper with a pencil, and you can write on it and lift the page and you won't see underneath the little indentation of what you wrote, or you can write hard enough that you break the point of that pencil. When that's what the blade is doing, that's the force or the pressure. So instead of increasing that, so it's putting more pressure on your material, doing a multi-cut a second time or a third time, and there are some like shrinky-dink material sheets that you have to cut 4 and 5 and 6 times, that's a better option to get a cleaner cut than if you just keep increasing the pressure or going to the deep cut blade.
Now, Elizabeth said, how do you do a multi-cut?
Are you showing her there? Or you
Oh, yeah. I'll let you talk. I'm not the crafter. I'm not a crafter.
Well, on the Smart Set dial, as you get to fabric, it's going to automatically do a multi-cut. But if you have either you want to do it yourself, then go into your custom settings and you can turn it on or off, and you can tell it how many times you want it to cut. The other thing you can do is, like I said before, when I do my little test cuts with a new material and I have it down at the bottom, if you're cutting something and you're not sure it's cut all the way through, then before you unload the mat, try to peel a corner of it and see if it comes up. And if it doesn't, then just hit the cut button again. The mat will go right back in and it will cut the same image in the same place.
Now with multi-cut set in the custom settings, does it say, for example, I had a star and a heart, would it cut the star 2 times, then move to the heart, cut it 2 times? Or would it do the star, the heart, and then go back?
Unless you paused it and changed the setting or changed the dial, because that is the thing that a lot of people have problems understanding when they're using the pen or the score stylus, because the A accessory port and the B accessory port that has the blade in it are controlled by the same setting on the dial. So if you've got it on poster board and it's going to cut twice, it's also going to write twice or score twice. So you really need a lighter touch for your pen, so you can set the dial to do paper, do the writing, pause it, and then change the dial to poster board to do your cut.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. I didn't know that. Good deal. All right, let's see. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on, unless you got anything else with this or any more questions. Good questions. Keep them coming if you have them. Like I said, we're here for you guys. All right, so this one fairly simple, but I do see it a lot from new folks. Okay, they uploaded an image to Design Space. It was uploaded as a print. How do you get it just to cut? So let's sort of go through that again with that Maui guy. So I'm going to go ahead and bring him in so we can sort of see what we're talking about here. So we got this. We're going to go ahead, upload the image. Find the Maui. There he is. Make it complex, continue. And, oh, yes. Well, we already talked about that. Okay. So we got that. Hit continue. Now, they went ahead and saved it like this. You know, so they went ahead and hit save. It is now a print then cut image. And maybe they didn't even mean it to be. They just wanted a silhouette. But we bring it in here and we go click on the go, and we get all the indications that we have this as a print and cut. So what are some solutions for this? Do you know, Miss Elizabeth? I'll tell you one that I heard while you're typing. Is they said, oh, let's go ahead and re-upload the image as a cut file. So let's see. All right, Miss Elizabeth, here's the question. I have this cut file right here. Okay. When I click go, it's asking me for a print then cut. I really just want to cut the silhouette out of it. So how do I get that to be a silhouette again? And like I said, the person, you know, I saw a comment on this one, was we were to have to re-upload the image again and save it as a cut file rather than a print then cut. Have you ever seen that, Paulette?
I've seen that. Yep.
You seen that advice given?
Yep.
Okay. So, so we have this here, and I have that selected, And Miss Elizabeth is now thinking on the right path. Is, originally she said flatten. I can't flatten and unflatten it. I can't unflatten it. There's nothing to unflatten. Yes, change it to a cut. And we do that by clicking on the printer icon and then clicking the cut. So there's our silhouette. Now another thing that I always see, and like I said, we already talked about this, is they do this, they go here, they hit continue, and then they say, oh, that looks good. I want to save that as a print and cut image. I'm going to hit save. I see this one all the time. Don't you, Paulette?
Yes.
Okay. I bring it in, and it looks cool. Hey, cool. I got them. But look what you have here. I don't know if I'm able. So I have a little white square around this dude, and it's all because we didn't take the time to click on the white spaces with that, with that little magic wand. And for this case, remember that comment that I said you'd have to re-upload? Don't do it. Well, for this case, you would have to re-upload the image. And then, like I said, don't forget when you're uploading this to click on the white spaces with your magic wand, because you see checkerboard there. If you hit preview, you should see what the cut outline is going to be. If you ever get to the point, this is what I always look at too. When we click the continue button, if this shape doesn't match the shape that you're looking for as far as cutting this thing out, then you need to go back. So that's my word of advice when it comes to uploading images. Okay. Anything else you'd add to that, guys?
One of the things I've seen trip some people up on that is they upload an image. A lot of people aren't aware of image sizes and image resolutions. And if they upload a really large image there, sometimes they'll see the print and cut long before they see the cut file image. They hit continue and move right past it. They don't even see it. Yes.
And you brought up quality of photo too. Oh gosh, I meant if it's a bad quality to you, I always tell people, would you like to have a nice big crisp clear image to hand draw, or would you like to have a nice blurry image to hand draw? So always go for the nice full versions of things. Don't try to go for the small little Facebook images to try to trace, go for the large ones. All right. Okay. Well, these last couple are very easy. We've already seen some of them tonight already. What do we got?
I was going to say, you're getting them hot off the press.
What's up?
You got them hot off the press tonight.
So this one should be a nice review for everyone. There's that one. There's the link to that one. Not to this one specifically, but the problem issue. So here's the issue when we click go. Here's all my letters. When I click go, that doesn't help me any, especially if I'm trying to do vinyl. You see this one a lot too, right, Paulette? You see a lot, right, Troy, Michelle? Yeah, I mean it's kind of a mess, and then some people think, well, shoot, now I got to move everything and spell it again, and you don't need to do that. And Denise, you got it right. Attach. Now, I'll give you guys two options here. Which one do we choose? And remember, we are no longer newbies. We are professionals. And your choice is between attach and weld for this exact lettering that we have right now. The letters are not touching. And those two options are available to you. Weld and slice. All right, Miss Elizabeth, you say attach. Okay. Denise, what do you say? Miss Ray, what do you say? Jana? Okay, we got attach. We got an attach. Denise says attach. Janice says attach. She's either she knows what she's talking about or she's a follower. Which one? Just joking, Miss Jana. All right. So yes, the true answer to that, like I said, we are all no longer newbies. We have graduated ScrappyDew University, and when we click attach, you can see that it's an attached set. When I click go, that solved all my problems. Okay. The only time I would ever suggest when we're talking about welding is only if you had letters touching, because if you did this and attach, at this point when you click go, it's going to cut the Y, it's going to cut the M, and you're going to be missing some letters. Okay, so if you do have letters touching, you do want to weld that stuff. Anything else you'd add on that? No? All right. Okay, one last one, and then we're done, guys, and then we're going to tally up all the points, and we're going to see who wins. Okay? This is the last one. Last one. Oh, gosh. It's a doozy. Have you seen this one, Troy? It was posted today. I thought I might grab it.
See. Are these the only posts that were made today?
Yeah,
I've seen all these too.
Yeah. I meant to. I scour the groups for stuff, right? So, anyways, I'm going to share this link with you guys. This was posted on. This is back history on this. I had to do some digging. I had to go all the way to Pinterest in order to find this thing. But anyways, it dates all the way back to October of last year when Cricut on their Facebook, they put out Make It Now stuff. So there's the link, guys. And that will take you to this project, to the Make It Now project anyway. All right. So she's basically says, I cannot edit the typing on this wedding announcement to save my life. I detached all the lettering. I just get the square. What do I need to do? The funny answer to this was go get your name legally changed to Sophie Clark and Colin Wright. That was the answer. So if anyone got that, 10 bonus points. Just joking. All right. So let me go ahead and go to the page. I thought that was funny. Okay. So a couple things here with the Make It Now projects. It gives you all the material listed that you would need, but it also gives you the project resources. The project resources is very key to making sure that, if you like the font that is used with this, then, you might want to take a look at what it is. Because we were not going to be able to retype any of this stuff. We're going to have to use the exact same font that, we're going to have to use the font that's listed here, but I don't see it. I do not see the font listed here. So that's where you click this little I, and this little I will give you the stuff, right? So it says Cake Basics and Baby Steps. It even gives you a price to check out if you're not a member, right? Otherwise, it'd be free, right, Paulette? Looks like all those have Cricut Access A's on there, so it would be free if you were under the subscription. Okay. Otherwise, you're paying $10, $10.97, and it's only $9.99, right, to have Cricut Access. So, yeah, Alyssa, you can use fonts that are on your computer, but these are writing style fonts that are in this project. What you do want to do, unless your name is Sophie Clark and Colin Wright, you'd want to customize this. You would not want to make it now. Is that correct? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't even know why that button's there for this project. That's a 1 in a million. So, anyways, this project right here is going to test your knowledge on a lot of things. Okay, so, and we all talked about it already. So you see this square, and it's pulling along with it the Sophie Clark and Colin Wright writing. Now, can anybody tell me by looking at my screen, is this a group or an attached set? All right, so Denise is saying that it's an attached set because she said we need to detach. Is this a group? Can I ungroup this? Should I ungroup it, or is it an attached set? Can you tell just by looking at my screen? not a group because all the letters are on separate layers. Okay. So it's, well, we can have a group with separate layers. Let's see. So it says it on the screen, Jana says. So hopefully we can all see this right here. It says attached set. Okay. So that lets me know it's an attached set. If I click on this attached set, I will have the option to detach, just like Denise said. So good job, Denise. Good job, Jana. Leslie, good job as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click on detach. And look at this. I can now move that writing square out of the way. And we have this stuff. Now, this here, and maybe Paulette can help me answer this question, because I actually have this question. Because I thought to myself before I put this in here, I thought I'd be smart, because I said, what font is this? Is there a way for me to tell? And I remember Paulette from her group says if you can click on the information block, you'll be able to see which one it is. However, I ran into an issue. So the layer attributes, if you click on the I thought you'd be able to see what font it is. And this is not Cricut Alphabet Regular. Okay, it's Cricut Cake, I believe.
No, I think that one is.
Is it? Because if I click on this one and I click on layer attributes, it still says the same thing. So that's where my theory was just shot out the window.
Yeah.
Okay. And so at this point, I started testing to see which font was which. So that's what you have to do. So anyways, click on text, John Doe. John Doe will type out. And then here, Leslie, is where the key is. Is over here. You see where it says all fonts? This is what I like most. It says has a writing style. So you can choose your own writing style if you want. Okay. But when I went to Cricut Cakes, let's see, where is that? Cake Basics. I think that's what, was it Cake Basics? I think that was what it was. So there it is. And so what I was telling the lady, I made her like a little video. I said that I would size this up to, you know, how she wants it. And then what's great about the, you know, having this as a text is I can copy this because now I know it's already the right size. I can just paste it. Now I can type the counterpart on there, you know. So let me move that. And John Doe can't marry Jane Doe because she's not a Doe yet. So we got a Jane Buck, maybe. I don't know. And then that's what I would do. And then, of course, you know, select the words and move them out of there, or you can type your own stuff. But that is how you do it. Once you got everything perfect the way that you want, of course, you would want to reattach everything to the piece of paper. Let me just do this real quick. Move the paper in. And then, like I said, once you got all your writing all together again, you just go back. And what do? Do we group it? Do we slice it? Do we attach it? Right. What do we do? What do we do? It's a group question here. What is it? All right, Denise says attach. That's good. Attach. All right. I think we are all in unison with the attach. Good job, everybody. We attach, and then that's it, guys. That's all you have to do. Click go. Of course, it's going to charge you money unless you have Cricut Access. So it will write this stuff, and then it will cut your square out. So that's how that will work. And if you have the Explorer, Air Explorer, as long as you don't have the Explorer one, you won't have to swap out tools. All right. Any questions, guys? We went over a lot of stuff tonight. Okay. I hope you guys did enjoy this. I hope it was fun. Sorry it drug out so long. I didn't plan on it going this long. But we went deep into some newbie stuff, into the newbie world. like I said, we have, you know, ScrappyDew has programs, has videos out there. I think it's over 2.5 hours worth of stuff. It's over, you know, Cricut Design Space stuff. If you use the code word Cricut SVG, you save 50% on it. Okay. I'll do a quick show of it, so we can get a little more learning in. But it's classroom.scrappydew.com. You're going to click on the beginner's guide right here. I'll post a link in the chat. But you can see that, you know, a couple of things, guys, that's really important with this. There's no ads. Everything is short and concise, not long and drawn out like this webinar here. You know, you can see what the, you know, I believe they go for anywhere from I think the longest one's like 8 minutes long. But that's what it is, short and concise. They're arranged in an order that makes sense. A lot of times you guys will go to YouTube and you'll try to find, you know, how to do something. But on here, all you have to do is look for it. They're all in a section. If I wanted to find something about Bluetooth stuff, I mean, look, BLUE. Hey, look, there's Bluetooth. I got a whole section just on Bluetooth. Okay, walking you through it. So, anyways, go ahead and check that out. Use that coupon code if you want. Save you 50% on the full course, right? Not the monthly course, because you know, some folks just want it for a month and they can have it for a month and then they're done. Some people like to have it because I do continually to add videos to that, right? So take a look at that. Thanks for coming out. This one is recorded. Okay, this video is recorded, so it's going to be in your classroom here shortly. I don't know, give it an hour and a half and it will be up there. Okay. Thank you, Miss Denise, about the classes. Yes, they are good. Thanks for the promo there. And also, what also helps me out here is subscribing to YouTube. Like I said, you know, I come out with videos. My little 8-year-old comes out with informative videos over Design Space. So make sure you check those out. And then I think that's about it. You got anything else, Michelle, Troy, or Paulette?
Well, of course, if you aren't in my Facebook group, come join me. Cricut Lover's Guide to Design Space.
Yeah, you can post that in the chat, guys, if you want to. So I forgot to post my classroom. There's the classroom one, guys. And then Troy's got a YouTube channel. He focuses on Cricut as well as Inkscape. That's your forte. And you also came out with your own vinyl stuff, right?
Yeah, you can get vinyl and HTV at 651vinyl.com, and that's kind of the gateway now to get you to my YouTube channel, as well as you know, I post just some generic articles out there as well. You know, just some things I write from time to time. Like yesterday, I published one on one of the most common questions I see out there is, why is my blade cutting all the way through my vinyl backing? And so you know, that comes up a lot because people buy the standard blades. They need the German carbide blade. They tend to be too long.
Yes. Let's see. It says Janet here has a question. She said she just received a new computer, has Edge, Microsoft Edge, for the browser. Will that work for Design Space? So I'll let y'all answer that part.
Edge will work on Design Space, but you'll have some issues. You know, it has Flash built in, similar to Chrome, but it's not a very mature browser, so you're going to see some flashing and fuzziness potentially. So not everyone sees it. I think it depends on the video drivers on the computer and some other things. So I don't really care for Edge much yet. It's just you know, it's just not very mature as far as the browser goes.
Yeah, if let's see here, I'm gonna pull this up over here. So some folks will think that this blue E down here means Microsoft Explorer. That's what I notice a lot of people think that. And on the Design Space website for the requirements, and now, you know, I noticed, you know, a couple weeks ago that it does say that Microsoft Edge is supported, because a lot of people were getting blurry images and stuff. And so I was always telling people to stay away from it. But I meant, if Cricut's saying it's okay, I really can't say not to use it anymore.
Probably the problem I see that is a functional problem is the way that it prints for folks that do print and cut. It'll come up, and a lot of times it for some reason see the printer, and then they have to click on a drop down and then select another printer that it shows or something. It's kind of wonky.
Mm-hmm. Now, what a lot of people don't even know also is that on your new computers, Windows 10, it has both browsers on there. You do have Explorer still on there, and it's meant, you see this little thing, Ask Me Anything, just type in Explore. There it is. You can tell that the E's are different. So you still have it on there. What does Design Space recommend? Are they always recommending Chrome whenever you've talked to them, Paulette?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
they seem to have less problems with interfacing with Chrome. And, there is the ongoing font glitch that you came across the other day that I really don't think they'll spend the resources to fix it because they're working on Design Space 3. But when you type in your word and maybe you want to change the color of each letter, you ungroup it, and every time you select a letter, it only chooses the first letter, or maybe you want to change something else with it, and it glitches, and it's only gonna, if you're gonna hide a letter or do something like that, only that first letter is selected. So that is, I think, across all browsers, but I know Print Then Cut works much better with Chrome than it's working in Firefox right now. So I've always used Chrome, and the only time I ever had an issue with it was when we were initially beta testing Print Then Cut, and I switched to Firefox for a day and switched back to Chrome, and they had the issue resolved. So Chrome is my go-to. I know people that change every day which browser they're using.
Yeah.
And I know people that refuse to install a different browser too for some reason. It looks like they're scared to death to install a browser. And I use it. I'm kind of the opposite way. I don't do a lot of print and cut, so I actually use Firefox. But the only reason I use Firefox is to isolate Design Space into a different process. I use Chrome for 99% of what I do because I'm a big Google Services user, and so just using it in Firefox, that just keeps it separated from my browser. So if one of my 600 tabs I have open in Chrome happens to cause the browser to crash, I don't lose my project that I'm working on or something. But other than that, I agree. Chrome is the most stable. It's the most used browser, and most websites are optimized for Chrome first, and then other browsers following that because of the developer tools Google put out there. And it has Flash built in, so you don't have to worry about updating Flash on your computer. Google does all that for you.
Yeah, so, and Paulette just answered this question, as any inside info when Design Space is going to be released, and it's still in beta, no release date yet. And I think it's 2023 is the scheduled. Is that right, Paulette? I'm just joking.
Sometime before then. It's like when my kids ask me when we're going to get somewhere, I'll say in less than 6 hours.
Yeah. But from the previews that we saw, it looks pretty nice. I think it looks pretty slick anyway. But it just looks like they're retooling it. I wonder if any more new features will come with it. Like the text to circle kind of stuff. That's kind of what I'm trying to find. Because to me it seems like that Cricut Design Space is in a state right now where Shortcuts. If anyone's used Shortcuts a lot, Shortcuts a lot 1 was in. We were still trying to go to Inkscape in order to get things done because Shortcuts a lot 1 wasn't going to be able to do it for us yet. Just like the text in a circle, we had to go to Inkscape for that. But now that's included into Shortcuts a lot 4. So it has matured, and I'm hoping that Design Space will do the same.
It will. Ashish has said that the first thing is to get the same features, program, whatever we've got in Design Space 2 right now, working in Design Space 3, and make it stable because they rewrote the whole program to not be dependent on Flash, and then they'll start adding features in. So I believe that the first time DS3 is released and people see it, it's going to be the same as DS2, except the enhanced that you've seen in the previews and stuff of being able to see the fonts. And
Yep. Pretty cool. All right, let's see. Print and cut size 2, maybe.
Yeah, they're still working on increasing that too.
Just sounds like it's a browser limitation or something. But all right. Well, if there's no more questions, hey, thanks for everyone coming out. Hey, who's got the most points? I forget.
I think Elizabeth did.
Elizabeth, all right. Well, you get a virtual handshake. Good job, and a pat on the back. Go ahead and give yourself a hug and go like this, and be all good. And all right. That's all I got. That's the only thing I can give away for. I'm sorry. But yes, hey, I do appreciate everyone coming out. If you did have a good time, make sure you let your other Facebook groups know. I can't really self-promote in a lot of these, so if you like this kind of format and stuff, make sure you let other people know about it, because we want this to grow. We want this to be a growing community. All right. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording and stop